The views, opinions and information expressed during Youth Services podcast series are solely those of individuals involved. Any recommendations or advice during the podcast is general in nature and does not replace the need to seek professional advice. If you are in need of urgent assistance, please call 000 or the Kids Helpline on 1800 55 1800. Welcome to the Casey Youth Services first ever podcast. We are excited to share information and events that are happening around you. We are youth workers for the City of Casey, and each week we'll be chatting with different guests whose passion lies within assisting young people, and we can't wait for you to hear what we have in store. Firstly, welcome to our first Casey Youth Services podcast. I'm Ellie.
And I'm Jamie.
And we are youth workers from the City of Casey, and we're so happy to have Mots from the Casey Aboriginal Gathering Place. Firstly, I want to acknowledge the traditional owners, Casey's Aboriginal communities and their rich culture, and pay respects to their elders past, present and future. We acknowledge Aboriginal people as Australia's first people and as the traditional owners and custodians of the land of which we work and live. Firstly, Mots, I just want to ask you a few questions. What is your favourite food?
Wow. Well, mate, I'm an islander, so I eat everything. So I think everything is my favourite food. But if I had to nail it down, it would probably be KFC.
What?
Yeah.
Bit of dirty bird.
That's deep. That's
That's definitely a meal, but I like it. And do you have a favourite sport?
I'm mixed between rugby union and basketball.
Cool. And do you play either of those?
I used to play both of them, not anymore, but yeah.
What basketball team do you go for?
Well, I'm a Chicago Bulls. So, back in the days, I was always a big fan of the, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen days. So
One Last Step documentary.
Phenomenal. I've watched it like 50 times already. It's the best documentary in the whole wide world.
Did you get anything from that documentary you think would help young people?
That will help young people?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. In The Last Dance, I think a lot of it, being in that environment, resilience, like being able to cope with a lot of the pressures of, the fame, the people around you, all that kind of stuff. So just being resilient in yourself to be able to know that you can do all the best that you can do. And, that was what I got out of it. But also as a basketball coach, I got a lot of, the interactions between a coach and a player and how I didn't realize but how big being a mentor was in that world. I thought it was, straight cutthroat. You do this, that's how you do it, and boom, boom, boom. But a lot of it was about the relationships and building that, being able to be a positive mentor as a coach to a lot of these players. So that's what I got out of that.
Yeah, it was a really inspiring and interesting documentary.
Yeah, most definitely.
Just with the first question, just want to ask, what got you into youth work? And how you started out in your journey along the way to get to this point?
Well, I wasn't, I don't know how to say it, but I wasn't the best kid growing up. I wasn't, single mum. I had, 3 older sisters. I was the only boy, so I got into trouble a lot. I got, I dealt with, no father in my life kind of issues, and they kind of built up a resentment towards a lot of things. And I felt that, joining in gangs and, hanging out with the wrong crowd was a way to, fill that void that I had. But then, I kind of, my mother sent me to New Zealand to try and find myself, and said, if I didn't go to New Zealand, I was either going to end up in prison or die. So she sent me to New Zealand, and I found my way there. And I guess where I am today, I think it was more about just giving back, giving back to my mum, my family that were there. No matter what happened in my life, they were there to support me So I felt like that was a thing I needed to do with the youth of today, is that just to be that person that's there to mentor and try to find positive change.
That's really inspiring. I think a lot of our listeners can relate to what your journey is and what you've gone through, and what wanted to make you work with the Indigenous youth.
Well, I grew up in Sydney, so I grew up around a lot of Indigenous people, and moving down to Melbourne, I thought just having that connection. One of my closest friends is Indigenous, and he works for an Aboriginal organisation. So I think it was just I kind of fell into that role really, in helping out Indigenous youth. I was connected into community before I became a youth worker, so the community kind of knew who I was already before I got into this role as the Aboriginal youth case manager and mentor here at Casey. Yeah, so it was just a good fit really. Community kind of knew who I was. I worked with youth before getting onto this role, so it was just I pretty much just walked into the role with community actually already knowing who I was, which is a good thing, because I already had built some solid relationships with a lot of the kids in our community. So it wasn't hard to engage with them when I took on this role, because they already knew, they put a face, they already knew my face, they already knew what I was all about. They knew my history, they knew my background, so it wasn't too hard to get in there and start mentoring young Indigenous kids here in community.
And what's been the thing you've enjoyed the most about working with Indigenous youth?
Well, there's many things I could say. One of them would definitely be, for the community to share their beautiful culture with me. As a non-Indigenous person, I feel that their culture is so rich and beautiful, and for them to share that with me, it's something that I'll never ever forget. I have great mentors, Indigenous mentors who, mentor me and give me guidance around Indigenous culture, and what they share with me is something that I'll always cherish forever. So that authentic love I have for the culture resonates with the youth. And so they kind of relate to that and go, oh, wow, this guy's genuine. I'm going to open up. I'm going to be able to talk to him about a lot more things than what they would with somebody who's not really invested in that. Does that make sense, JD?
Yeah, definitely. Sounds awesome. And a really great experience to be able to learn about their culture and help them share those experiences and celebrate who they are. It's so important. It's such a rich history.
And just I guess another thing would be that relationship, they're building that positive professional relationship with, the Indigenous community. That to me is something really important as well to acknowledge.
Could you just describe what the gathering place is and what your role is there as well?
My role is, as the Aboriginal youth case manager and mentor, my role is about engaging with Indigenous community, ages from 10 to 25. And it's basically just to support them in the challenges that they're facing. For me, it's about that positive role modeling and being able to mentor them in a way where they can get some positive outlooks rather than seeing all the negative sides of things. So that, I think my role was about that, and just having positive engagement with the community. To do that, I need a good place to start. And so that good place is the Aboriginal, Casey Aboriginal Gathering Place. What this place gives for our community is that safe place where they can be free to be who they are. But it's also about connection to my culture, connection to a whole range of things, community. So for me and my role, this is a great place to start that connection and building that relationship, because it's a safe place where they can open up and then we can explore down the line on what programs are like and all that other stuff that comes along with it.
If there was any young people listening to this right now and wanting to come down and check it out, are you offering any programs or services at the moment?
So we do have a couple of programs for indigenous youth or indigenous communities here at the Gathering Place. We have an elders program where elders come in, they all get together, and we have a wonderful garden that the elders work on. But then we also have homework club where we've got kids that come down and need to get their work done. We have some tutors that come on site and tutor them. Obviously this is all without COVID-19 and the impacts that this pandemic has had on us. But prior to that, those are the programs that we were running down here. But the Gathering Place is also in partnership with a lot of Aboriginal organisations that they're running communities. So they've got VACA, Victorian Aboriginal Childcare Agency, who run different programs. They run a men's program, they run a women's program. Then you've got Dandenong Council, who utilise the Gathering Place, that run playgroup and things like that. So and then you've got the DACL, another Aboriginal organisation who run youth group. And so they utilise this place a lot with the kids and community, which helps me because it allows me to engage with the community as well when they turn up here.
Sounds like a really great space for young people to go and also connect with elders and be supported in that way. Yeah,
most definitely. The interactions that you get with the kids and elders. It's like, I don't know, what is it like with us, when we're with our parents? It's like, I don't want to hang out with my parents, blah, 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 and this and that. But the beauty about the Gathering Place is that they get a lot of that information through elders and through other peers as well. So it's not like they're listening it from their parents or their guardians that look after them. They're actually listening to all this information from community, And the beauty about the Gathering Place, if you think about the indigenous community that we work with, they're all like one family. Mm-hmm. So with the pandemic that's happening, and how they were talking about everyone's got to be in their own bubble. So if you're in this house, you got to stay in that house. If you're in this house, you got to stay in that house. It's difficult for the indigenous community because that house and that house and that house and that house is my house.
Yeah.
So that my bubble's got 5 houses, because I'll sleep on a couch here, I'll sleep with my cousins over here, I'll go sleep with my uncles and aunties over here. It's one big massive community. So that's what the Gathering Place provides for them, is that one big haven place where everyone can just come and chill and gather together as well. Yeah.
Sounds like a really good supportive network.
It is. It definitely is, man. Definitely is.
So, Mots, you mentioned before in regards to COVID-19 and everyone being in isolation, and that they are a little bit isolated from their community as well. Are there certain barriers and struggles that the young people have kind of confided in you in regards to things that similar that you see across the board, or are they all really different struggles that you see that the young people are facing right now?
I think the main thing that the community or the youth come at me is that social isolation. And what does social isolation come with? It just triggers a lot of challenges that they're going through. For us, for our community, it's about the transgenerational trauma that comes out. That's been passed from generation to generation. That that's now heightened because they're so isolated. And can you imagine? Many years ago, they've isolated all these indigenous communities and put them in missions and stuff like that. Imagine what that feels like for them now.
Yeah.
Being isolated in their bubble where they can't go to their cousins or, they can't go to their uncles or aunties. They got to stay within their bubble. A lot of trauma comes out of that. So, a lot of all that is coming out during this pandemic. And I guess what we're doing at the Aboriginal Gathering Place is just trying to find a way to support that. Trying to find a way where we can, minimize that social isolation by doing Zoom meetings or just FaceTiming and putting emojis up on the FaceTime. They change your face around just to make it look funny. We've been trying all these different ways of connecting with them. And it's funny, I was on the a messenger the other week with a young indigenous lady, and I changed my face to I had a cowboy hat, and it just looked ridiculous. But she just cracked up laughing, and she was telling me she hadn't laughed like that in a while. So we're just trying our best to do whatever we can just to, minimize those challenges that they're facing currently, and try and support them by, tapping into other programs that are still currently running during COVID-19. The youth counselling team, all that kind of stuff at the City of Casey Youth Services. We're just trying to work out which services we can utilize. We do every Friday, so we found, in community, they're struggling around food. So our Indigenous community are struggling around food. So what we were lucky to do is have a cafe provide food for us every Friday, and we go and deliver those food to Indigenous communities. And with that, we've asked CFA if they've got packs that they can bring out. So CFA have then organised packs where they've got smoke alarms inside those packs, and then they've got information around fire, because they're isolated. Things can obviously heightened during this time in their household. We just want to make sure that they're also safe. We've connected with Dandenong Police. They're going to put a pack together where talk about different helplines that they need they can contact if they're in stress or in need of any services that are there. And the DACL, another Aboriginal organisation, just handed us a whole heap of pack about tackling Indigenous smoking. And so they've got a lot of information inside these packs about how to deal with how to deal with smoking and what the effects are and all that kind of stuff. So we're just trying our best to put out a whole heap of different information out there, so that people are still trying to engage. Does that make sense? Like, we just
100%.
Yeah, we're just trying to engage as best as we can to support our community.
100%. And for any Indigenous young people that are listening, or for any young people that are listening, please know that you can go to the Aboriginal Gathering Place. You can contact MOTS, you can contact our youth counselling if you need to, and you're more than welcome to contact us. And if you needed to get MOTS direct, please feel free to let us know, and we can pop you through to him as well.
Most definitely.
It is an amazing work that you do down there, and my hat comes off to you because I'm impressed. It's amazing.
Yeah, we do the best that we can for our community, and that's what it's all about. It's about supporting one another and hoping that we can get through this uncertain time together.
Collective together, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And we just wanted to discuss with you, Mots, a little bit more about the acknowledgement to country, that all of us are here, and discuss kind of the difference between them. If you could you please give us a little bit of an insight to what the acknowledgement of country is, and how a young person can maybe use this within their personal and professional lives, and maybe for those who are listening that don't actually know the differences between one or the other?
Yeah. So a welcome to country is an acknowledgement to country, are slightly similar with differences. So with a welcome to country, it's about having an elder welcome people on their land. So if we were to ask for a welcome to country on the land that I'm standing on and I'm working on now, which is the Wurundjeri land, we would need a Wurundjeri elder to come and do that for us, so that they can welcome us on this land that we are currently working on. The difference with acknowledgement is that acknowledgement, anyone can acknowledge. So us as non-Indigenous workers, we can acknowledge that we are working on traditional owners' lands, and that we're just acknowledging it to pay our respects and thank them that we're able to work on these lands. So anyone can do acknowledgement, but with Welcome the Country, it would need to be an elder of that country to do the Welcome the Country. Those are the differences. Yeah. Okay. We were talking about acknowledgement country though, about what it means, for us as non-Indigenous workers, non-Indigenous people altogether. What does acknowledgement country mean for us? And the way I see it is for so many years, Indigenous people have suffered. Yeah. Yeah. So what we're trying to do is just acknowledge that we see you, and we hear your voices, and we understand that you're going through this. Therefore, I acknowledge you that whilst we are here working on your land, that you are safe, and that not only just that, it's also just to let them know that we stand by them.
100%.
Definitely.
We stand by them, and we're here 100%. So that's what for me acknowledgement is about. It's just acknowledging and letting our Indigenous people who are either on this podcast or who are who are in our communities, to let them know that we stand with them.
Exactly. And we provide that safe space for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's what I believe the differences are, and what acknowledgement to country means to me.
Perfect. And thank you so much, Mots, because a lot of the young people may not know the differences, and I want them to feel comfortable in regards to respecting the traditional owners and our Indigenous people in our community. So with Jamie and myself, wanted to say a massive thank you for being a part of our podcast and just providing a lot of insight about what you do, what goes on in the community, and that you're there for them and what we offer for them. And just letting everyone know that Mots is always around for a chat. So please contact him if you need, Casey Youth Services and the Casey Aboriginal Gathering Place. I want you all to have a good day and be safe, and we'll talk to you in the next podcast.
Hey, thank you. Can I just say thank you, Ali and Jamie, JD. I just want to say, I really do. I appreciate you both. I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for allowing me to express, what it means for me to work in Indigenous communities, and being able to use this platform as a platform to advocate for that, and to let everybody know that we do stand with, Indigenous communities, and we're here going through this tough time, but we're here together. Yeah, we're here together. So I just want to thank you both for allowing me this platform to do that.
No worries. Once again, really appreciate you taking time out of the day and sharing this information with us and the young people listening. It's going to benefit a lot of young people as well.
I hope so, man.
And us too.
Appreciate it. Definitely. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, check out the link to Casey Conversations in the description box. All information from today's episode will be in there. Bye for now.